Fine. Now I want to write an algorithm to add two numbers, just two numbers. Okay. Like for example, I've got a number 5, I've got a number 7. I want to get the result as 12, right? Now, first thing that we will do as exercise is we will make the flowchart. Okay, flowchart. So I will show you in the PPT again, and depending upon this, you tell me what should I do, how should I draw. I should start with the start ellipse, right? So let me say, let me go to the Word document. Okay, better I should have open Paint. Okay, right, and start. Okay, then tell me what should I do. Input box, right? Input box. We need two inputs. Let's say the name of first number, let's say the name or the label of the first number is say A, and the label of the second number, let's say it's B, and let's say the label of the number that will store, in which we will store the result, is result, right? Okay, make sense? Okay. Or you can also say C also. That's valid, fine. So we need two input boxes, one for A and one for B, right? Hmm. इसको आप एरो समझ लो, ठीक है? एरो बनाने में जो डिफिकल्टी हो रही है, आप इसको एरो समझ लो। मेरे ख्याल से एरो का होगा भी इसमें। रुकिए। हैं? Right? Then I need a rectangle. uh, इसके लिए थोड़ा सा वैसा चाहिए था मुझे, तो मैं इसी से बना लेता हूँ। हाँ, ठीक है। क्या लिखूँ यहाँ पर? इसको थोड़ा सा करा जाए। Input A, right? Similarly, I will make another arrow. Then I will go for another box, right? And here I will write input B, right? Then what else? ठीक है, तो ये थोड़े तिरछे हैं, दिस इज स्लाइटली, यू नो, लाइक दिस, as in the flow chart image. You can see these are the input boxes, right? The blue one, right? And this is how we can make the yellow boxes, which is complete rectangle. We can use it to show the computation, right? So let's say we have got a again a box here, and this is exactly a square box, right? In this I will write result, result is equal to A plus B, right? Correct? Okay. इसको थोड़ा ऊपर ले जाते हैं. Then we have to give the output, right? So again, this is the arrow, and then I have got the output, and I will write output, output result, right? And then finally, after it, if something comes, then it is going to be a ellipse, and the ellipse will say stop, right? Start and stop. So this is a flowchart in its simplest form, right? Now I need to convert it to algorithm, pseudocode, right? Fine. Basically, these both are the representation of the algorithm. So better, let's say pseudocode. Correct. So tell me, what should I write? Have a look at this pseudocode, and then you can tell me. There has to be start. Again, input A, input B, then result is equal to A plus B, and then output, result, and then end. End or stop. ठीक है? Normally we start and we do end. ठीक है? So let's say start. Uh, Let me increase the size of the font. Then input A, B, result is equal to A plus B, output result, right? Then end, right? Output means it is displayed on the screen. Input means it is read from the keyboard, right? Okay. Now what happens here? Assume at this line when the program executes, right? The control goes to the operating system. The operating system somehow coordinates with the input device, which is the keyboard, right? And whatever you enter the value of A, say for example 5 in the keyboard, that is being read or fetched and sent to the where? Hard disk or RAM? RAM, the temporary memory, right? RAM. And in the RAM, you assume there is a small bucket, okay, that is specifically meant to hold a whole number or contain a whole number, and you have got a label for it as A. And if you have read 5, then that value 5 is placed inside the box or that bucket. So that's a kind of a placeholder, right? Then when the next line executes, similarly from the input device, which is the keyboard, the value of B is read. As I said, it's 7 for example. So another container, a small box or a placeholder in the memory, whatever you say, that is created, which is specifically meant to hold a whole number. Why I'm saying again and again specifically meant to hold a whole number? it could hold many other things. It could hold a character, it could hold a string values, right? It could hold a floating point number, that is 5.7, something like that. But I am saying this container has a specific has a specialty that it can hold only whole number, and I will give it a label as b, right? And then 7 is placed inside that number, right? Now for doing the computation, we create a similar kind of container with the same size, okay, with the same size. I have drawn a little larger, but it's of the same size and of the same nature. That means it is going to hold a whole number, right? And then the CPU does the arithmetic computation. That is, a plus b is done somehow, right? And the result, which is 7, is stored in this container, which has got the label as result, or some of you have suggested we could have named it as C also. Okay? That is also fine. Now when things are done, the next instruction, which is the output result, is sent to the Chacha processor. And of course, the instruction will be sent. They must first be written in a programming language like C, right? And then they must be compiled or interpreted. Then only the instruction will go to the processor. And the processor is going to display this result on the monitor as 7, right? And in between, everything is being coordinated by the operating system. Okay? Right? Now assume we are writing this as a program. We intend to write this as convert it to a program, right? This is an algorithm, right? And then algorithm, if it is so simple that I just want to do a addition of two numbers 5 and 7, there is no sense of coding it, right? Even a one grade child can do that, right? Instead of this, assume we have a file. We have a file, and we have a file which is basically a sales data. A sales data since we got independence. In which year we got independence in India? 1947, right? For each and every month. So Jan 1947, Feb 1947, April, March 1947, April 1947, so on till December 1947. Then again, Jan 1948 till this date, Jan. Okay, assume it from August. No issues. Okay. No issues. I just mean to say we have got a lot of data. Okay? Lot of data. And there are two columns, right? In one column, there is month and year combined, right? Like 01 or whatever you want to do from August, then you can just change it to August 1947, right? And here we have got sales of something. Let's say the uh, uh, khadi, difficult to track, so let's say hero cycle. Hero cycle. आप लोग तो भूल भी गए होंगे इस ब्रांड की कोई चीज होती है. अच्छा, so they are the oldest ones, right? So let's say in this month they have got 1200 units sold. Then in Feb 1947, say they have got 1586 units sold, and so on, right? Correct. Now if I want to add these values, all these sales that happened since 1947 till Jan 2026, right? How can we write the algorithm for this? How can we write the algorithm for this? Tell me. Shall we write a flowchart first? Okay. कलर चेंज कर दें. Is it okay? Start. कहाँ गया भाई? Let me go to the next page. ठीक है, यहाँ से. हैं? Okay. Just a second then. ठीक है. So the problem statement is understood, right? Start, right? Input what? A from data file. Yes, we can write this also. ठीक है? It's basically an input. ठीक है, block. So I'm writing input A from data file. So there must be in hard disk a data file. ठीक है? Like uh, hero sales, right? Dot xl excel file, xls file, ठीक है? Or maybe the csv file, dot csv file, ठीक है? So they will contain one column as the month and year, the other column the unit sold, right? So we are going to read input A from data file, ठीक है? So the first sale, ठीक है, I need to read, ठीक है, and I want to put that first sale of say for example 1250 unit into A. So A gets initialized by, now I'm using this rectangle, right? A becomes the first sale data of 1250 for example, right? then I am declaring another label, another container that contains total sales is equal to 0. ठीक है? When there are no sales, even before the first month that is picked from the data file, there were no sales. So we will assume at that time the total sales is equal to 0, right? Then what we are going to do is another, this processing box will be created, and here I will say total sales is equal to total sales plus A, correct? Right? Now what I will do is I will see if I will check if whole file is read. There could be two situations, either yes or no. Have I read the whole file? Not yet. So I will go back and I will merge it here. So input, rather I will like to say next day from the file, next data from the file, right? So again the next month sale, say for example it is 1580. So that is bought in. So A becomes, the old value goes, and A becomes 1580. What was the result? Before I come to this total sales, it was 1250, because earlier total sales was 0, and 0 plus 1250 means, as of now total sales must be storing 1215, right? Now again the total sales becomes 1580 plus 1215. What is the result? Tell me. 085 13 carry 1, uh, then 5 to 7 and 8, and then 2830, right? Again, if the whole file is read, no, and I will keep on going again to the file and reading the value in the box that is labeled A, and that box value is added to the box which contains total sales, right? So the total sales keep on growing. Finally, when the whole file is read, then I will use the output box, and I will, internet is gone. I will say output. What should I write? Total sales, and then finally we stop, right? Now see, both the containers, the container A and the container which contains the result, right, or total sales with the label total sales, they keep on getting new value every time when one row from the file is read, right? Please pay attention. Please pay attention. These containers, they keep on getting new values every time a new data is fetched from the files, right? And that value is overwritten to A, and then the sum is again calculated and overwritten to total sales, right? That means the data that we stored in these containers or the placeholders or some boxes in the memory, they keep varying over time. They keep varying over time, right? And that box which has the capability to hold different data at different moment of time, okay, which may have a name, like for example A here and total sales here. So that container is called a variable, right? This is A, the variable. Similarly, total sales will be called a variable. So that varies in its content is called a variable. So if there is a variable, there must be something called as constant also, right? Just a second. Okay. So if this is a variable, there must be something also called as a constant. So give me an example of a constant, like pi. What is the value of pi? 3.14, and it keeps on. It is a large value actually, but for 2 decimal, 3.14, right? Okay. So this value we are not expecting to be changed over time, right? Even though this value also required a kind of container to be stored, right? But from the business logic perspective, from the application perspective, if I am creating a mathematical application or a scientific calculator, for example, this value is not going to ever change. So I will call this value as a constant. This value as a constant. It's altogether a different thing that how this constant is seen in a programming language, how it is maintained. Okay, that's a different story, right? But theoretically, we call it a constant because its value is not going to change. And here, this kind of container where the value keeps on changing again and again, right? New values keeps on overwriting on it. This is called as variable. So you are getting introduced to the terms of programming languages, and these terms are common for every programming language. So this is the foundation. When you learn one programming language, the foundation doesn't changes. Okay, most of the time. Okay. Okay. So shall I stop the recording here?